I wanted to make a video on this, kind of give a quick little rundown of what I had to go through. So this thing came from Monterrey, Mexico. It is a Mcintosh 2155. I've got the glass over there. I'm changing out the lamps for the meters. But when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is in pretty good shape, right? So it's not going to need that much work. But then I opened the bottom while the guy was here, and I saw burnt resistors there, so I said, okay, I'll take a look at it. So it actually needed a lot, and it had been tampered with badly. So the outputs were all like a mismatch of different outputs. They weren't matched before, and there was about 6 shorted outputs on these mounted to these heat sinks. So I found that out a little bit later, but obviously I had to order all the parts. But in the meantime, I replaced all these resistors, and it was a bear to find the manual, because the manual is incomplete. All the manuals online are not, they don't show really a whole lot of information on the power section. It's just like it's a few scans of the manual, which is huge. The manual is a huge manual, and they only scan a few of it, and it's very incomplete. So there was no part numbers that were available. So I had to call Mcintosh, which is a nightmare. So Mcintosh, when you call them, it's very hard to get a hold of the technician, right? So you get a hold of the technician, and he doesn't know anything. It's like, okay, you can't really help me with anything. But he sent me the actual service manual, so that was a help. So when I finally got the service manual, I was able to determine what resistors were supposed to be there. They were fried on both of them, and that was because of the outputs that were shorted. The fuse that was in here, if you want to call it a fuse, it's like somebody took the top of it off, like the silver part of the glass fuse, and they stuffed and like soldered like a piece of metal in there together to kind of bypass the fuse. Very strange. I don't know why they did that, and they could have, if they really wanted to bypass the fuse, they could have just jumpered it right there. But I don't know. They shouldn't have done that to begin with, but they should have fixed the problem. But yeah, it was just somebody trying to bypass it. And anyway, so I actually put the right fuse in there, of course. It had one of these boards was missing this little bias transistor that's in here. You can't really see it very well. It's like a bias network transistor. I don't really know what else to call it, but it's part of this board here, and it's kind of sitting on this heatsink. It's not like bolted down or anything. It's just kind of in proximity of the heatsink, and I believe it tracks the bias. So one of them had legs that were torn off, and it was installed backwards, and the other one was just completely missing that part. So to figure out what part that was a bear. And of course I needed the manual, but I called Mcintosh, and I got the right parts from Mcintosh to replace those with. The outputs are on semis, brand new on semis, matched very well. It has new filter capacitors. So those filter capacitors, there's the old ones over there. One of them was leaking fluid, and it was open. So now it has, I guess, new. I don't know if they gave me new old stock ones or what, but I mean, they're identical, almost identical to the old ones. So I put them in. They work fine. I recapped this whole board here. New capacitors. I replaced the WEMA here with a new WEMA. It was like an MKS. It's an MKP now, I think. What else did I have to do on this thing? It's just missing a bunch of screws on the heat sinks. What else? Oh, I recapped a lot of this board up here. I pretty much replaced all the caps on this board here. I didn't mess with the meter board. The meters are working fine, so I'm just gonna leave that in there. Other than that, I tightened these because these were all loose. All the knobs were loose, and it's going to get new lights. So the only thing that's left on it now, oh, and it had a bunch of broken solder joints on these Molex connectors. If you want to call them Molex connectors, but they're these connectors. They kind of put pressure on the pins, and it just had a bunch of broken solder joints. I basically cleaned up the solder joints on both of these driver boards here, and yeah. The only thing that's left on it is I gotta set the DC offset and I gotta set the bias, but I'm not gonna do that right now. I just got home from work. I'm probably gonna wait to do it when I have a little bit more time or when I'm not so tired, but that's not gonna take very long. And then I'm gonna put it back together, and well, probably not gonna mess with it until I get those lamps. But once I get those lamps, do everything, put it back together, and then I'm gonna run it for a while. But yeah, this thing was butchered. It was butchered. Let me see if we can get like a top view of it. I honestly didn't know that it was gonna ever work again, because you know it was from Mexico, and it had been put through the ringer. But I was able to get it with the manual. I was able to basically figure out how the damn thing was put, how it works, and the manual was basically the key in getting this going again. But you know, getting the right parts in there. But that was kind of what I went through on this one, and it I've actually had this for a while. As most of you guys know, I'm not working on stuff anymore because I don't really have the time. But I've been trying to work on this as much as I can. And then the last piece that I'll be fixing is that B2 right there. And then I will hopefully be able to take a break, and I'll have to worry about anything anymore. But that's kind of where I'm at on this. And I'll have an update here soon.